everybody. I'm trying to figure out how often to do these live streams and if there's something I really want to spend my time on. I know it's important for me to do the things that are important to me, and that's where I get my most joy and happiness, is when I do things that are important to me and things that bring joy to me, and that I'm not doing them for anybody else. That's a challenge on social media, because social media tends to be about the amount of clicks and likes and shit that you get. Unfortunately, it's not really about doing it for you, unlike the artistic process in general, which is very much about doing things for yourself and doing things for your own enjoyment instead of doing them because you feel like you should or that you owe it to someone. So I've been struggling with that. So I want to say that I don't really, I want to say, like, what I want to say is that I don't really care if anybody watches these or not, or if that I want to feel the same way as I feel when I draw. When I draw, I just do it for me. And this is a piece I just finished, and this is one of my absolute favorite pieces I've done in a while. It's a big mess. I don't know if I showed it when I was working on it, but I love how messy it got. I'm really proud of it. So I'm working on that. I'm working on trying to, like I said, when I draw, it's all for me. And I also can wonder, how I come across. I don't want to come across as an ego head or as someone who is trying, desperate for attention or anything. I'd say that I kind of do this therapeutically. I'd say that this is kind of like a therapy for me to just talk things out. I talk to Thoth about everything. Isn't my hair fun? I don't know what happened. Thoth is over there. He doesn't like the live stream thing. I'm not sure if I do either. But because I understand that people's capacity to watch and listen is limited. And I can't hold that against anybody. But I think I think it's just I have a lot to share, and I have a lot on my mind all the time. And I'd like sharing it, because sometimes there are people that can relate to it, and most of the time not. And that's okay. This is something that Thoth did. He draws with his left hand. And he's doing a bunch of dots and stuff. I think that's really cool. I really like this one. He's just letting me have these to paste on one of my paintings. I think I'm going to do like something like that, where I glue it and then paint over it or something. Been feeling extremely creative recently, very inspired, and that is my reason to live. So creativity is everything for me. If I'm feeling uninspired, or I'm feeling just empty inside, it's just a horrible feeling. And while we're doing our little live stream practice sessions, we did one earlier tonight, it's really interesting for me to just sit and look at my art. I mean, actually, the other day, or maybe today, when we were practicing in the house, I was just sitting and looking at one of my pieces, and I'm just, it's interesting how much my art and our music is so intertwined and so connected and related to each other. It's all the same thing to me. And I'm starting to really get into wanting to make clothes again and paint on my clothes. Let's see, I have something that I made. Painted on some clothes, which is really fun. And something I wanted to share about art is the thing I find very strange about art as compared to music is that when you're an artist, when you draw, you're very much seen as being as original as being an original artist is seen as like, wow, Salvador Dali, Van Gogh, any of these great artists of the past, they're completely celebrated because they were original, because there was nobody who did what they did, right? And in regards to my art, my art is unlike anyone else's art, and nobody taught me how to do this. It's something I just do on my own, and it's something that it's a style, and it's just a natural style. It's the way that I draw, right? Just the same as how everybody writes in a certain way. Everybody does, just everyone writes in a unique way. Everybody can draw in a unique way. If everybody just started to draw, it would be a unique style, because
they don't need to draw.
Yeah, I guess so. And I saw an interesting video today about how AI art naturally is very much screwing with the whole creativity, artistic idea, because it's people claim that like AI art is really great for most people because most people can't draw, and it gives them that ability to feel like they're creating something, and it gives them that rush and that joy that artists get, and I don't agree with that, because anybody can draw. Anybody can draw imaginatively, and it's not an easy process. And I'm not saying that I just got up one day and I could draw, or I just got up one day and I could sing, and it takes discipline and dedication, but that goes without saying. And the whole AI art thing is very disturbing for the reason that it kind of takes away the struggle that artists go through, because the process that I went through to make this piece in particular was let's see. Have you ever thought of getting a street license and painting on the side of a bridge? There are a few famous artists who get a license and draw very unique artwork. No, I've never thought of that. I've only ever drawn. I mean, this is actually the largest kind of thing I've ever done, this size, and it's not very large. So, it would take some time for me to be doing something that was, larger than that. I'm hopefully going to start working on doing canvases when we get to Bali. Start working on making canvas pieces. But I know that will be challenging because I've only ever worked in small books. Anyway, but the interesting thing that I find about art, as compared to music, is that art is intrinsically original. That the way that you learn how to draw is same as when you learn how to make music. You copy. You naturally copy. It's 6:18 a.m. in Long Beach. I really enjoyed your live streams and your thoughtful sharing. It's like a poem. You are more than this earthly life we lead. What a spiritual being you are. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, that's really helpful. I'm trying to figure out when I want to do the live streams and how often. I don't think once a day is good for me because it's just too much. It's too much work. It's too much output for me. And Thoth doesn't enjoy it, so understandably, because it's all electronic and digital, and I'm just staring at a screen, and he doesn't like that. But he's here. But I think I've resisted for a long time doing things in which I'm talking because Thoth doesn't enjoy it. But he doesn't have to do it, and I don't owe anybody anything. I can do it as much or as little as I want, but I think I'm going to try to do it once a week, every Monday. Monday's my day off, our day off. I'm trying to get to this point. But in regards to drawing, it's just something that it kind of goes without saying that you learn how to draw through copying. That's how I learned how to draw for, at least 25 years. I would copy things. I spent 20 years, copying hands, copying faces, even copying people's art. Because that's how you learn. You learn by copying. You learn by reproducing things that you can see. And that's just the way it works. Nobody just comes out of the womb or comes out of childhood and starts, unless you're a genius or something, which is not something I can understand. But the average person does not just hop out of bed one day and they can draw something from imagination that looks realistic and original and creative. It can take decades. And for me, the drawing creative process has been something that I've not really shared much, and I don't really know why, but I think it's only been recently that I've really started to believe in what I'm doing and thinking that it is original and it is creative. But comparing that to music is definitely something that people have a lot of success just copying. You know what I mean? Like people do cover songs. They try to copy, they try to emulate other artists and sound like a certain genre, have a certain kind of, Thoth and I don't have a genre. We are tribal Baroque. Tribal Baroque is the word that I originally thought up that describes our music, and there is no other tribal Baroque. If you look up the name tribal Baroque, the only thing that comes up is us. So, and it seems to me like unless you get really lucky, I mean, the same is true with art, with painting and drawing, but unless you get like really, really lucky with music, being a completely original creative artist who's doing something completely unknown and something that's never been seen before or heard before, that truly is unlike anything else, or that is a conglomeration of a lot of different things that nobody would ever think to put together, because our music is operatic, classical, electronic, what else? I don't know. It's a lot of things. It's tribal, Baroque, it's all sorts of things. It's futuristic, it's I don't really know genres very well. It is an entity in and of itself. So, but we've been doing it for over a decade, and it's never really caught on because it's not something that, and we don't try to have it fit into anything. But it's strange that there have been a lot of people in the world who have been celebrated for being, like, all pop music sounds the same. All popular music sounds the same. It has the same beat, same rhythm, same chords, same everything. The singers sound the same almost. So people really doing original creative music are not really celebrated. Not really. People are mostly celebrated for sounding and being like everybody else. And but some of the greatest artists of all time are celebrated for being original and creative. And that just kind of goes without saying that if, for example, if an artist copied somebody else's art and then put it out there and said, look, I made this piece of art, and then people said, well, you've copied someone else's art. They don't go, yay. They don't applaud you. They go, you're infringing someone's copyright of their art. You're stealing. You can't steal. You're a fraud, you're a fake, da-da-da. But in regards to music, people sing cover songs all the time and become very successful for singing cover songs, for kind of regurgitating the same kind of style of music, and they're celebrated. Isn't that odd? I find that very strange about art and music. And I have that perspective because of the way that I've been playing music for so long, and the way that I've been doing something that's so unusual for so long, and it's I wouldn't do anything else. I don't want to sing pieces from operas or classical music pieces or pop songs. I can sing, I could sing The Queen of the Night if I wanted to. I could sing Glitter and Be Gay and all of those famous coloratura soprano arias if I wanted to, but I don't want to. There's millions of other girls who can sing them and probably sing them better than I can and are more suited for the role. Because look at me, I'm not trying to be the generic soprano thing. I never have been. Never liked that whole thing. Too catty and competitive. But really that's why we live in a world that doesn't really have originality anymore. Originality and creativity is just dying, and disturbs me, disturbs us both. We talk about it a lot, how there's no room anymore for people to experiment and try new things and do original things. And it's disturbing that we live in a world that doesn't really embrace or support originality. It's just getting worse. I mean, when I was starting in 2009, it was already hard. So Thoth was around when it was easier. Easier, I don't know what that means, but he was having he did have a lot of opportunities in the Bay Area, and he did have a space for a few years in which he was quite celebrated for what he was doing. What were you on, like Time magazine or some? What was that magazine you were in which you were like part of the Faces of New York? What was that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's true. I know it's. I'm trying not to pay attention to that stuff too much because it just depresses me. I understand that there are people who are generic as can be, and genericness tends to become very successful. Middle of the road, things that are definitely things that are easy to swallow, easy to consume, are the things that find success in this world. And for example, there's a group from who I think they still perform in the Angel Tunnel, and they went off to be incredibly successful in New York City. Got signed to a label and all that good stuff. All the things, performing in these amazing venues all over New York City, and doing things that I at a time was dreaming to be able to do those things, and most likely will never do those things. And sometimes it really gets to me, it really hurts me. But I have to understand that it really is things that are the most digestible that become successful, the most kind of normal. And Thoth and I are not normal, and never have been and never will be. It's not, I mean, one could say it is a stubbornness in a way, that we refuse to fit in, but I don't even see it as stubbornness. I see it as this is just the way we are. We're original creative artists, and we'd rather be alone and be unrecognized and unsuccessful, and be ourselves and find our own success and our own happiness through living our truth and following our hearts, than following any trends or following anything in order to fit into something that would cause us to have any kind of a success. And I have a memory of one of the people who is part of this group that still plays in the Angel Tunnel, saying a long time ago that, I can see you guys on a stage with beautiful lighting and sets and costumes and stuff. And ironic, because he's gone on to be incredibly successful in a way that we probably never will be. And he's probably, at least 10, 15 years younger than me. And I've seen that happen. I've seen, ironically, certain people that I've known become successful in ways that we never will be. And it hurts sometimes, because if I think too much about that, I try not to. Try to remember that I'm living my best life, and I am. I'm doing what I believe in, and I'm living the life that I'm proud of. And something I can be proud of, and doing something with my life, and I know what I'm doing is very special. I'm not fooled by all of the bullshit that's going on in the world, but it can get me discouraged at times. So another thing I wanted to share is that the thing that really makes me feel like I don't necessarily feel like I'm intrinsically valuable as a human being. I think my value comes from what I create, like my creativity is definitely I always struggle with this thought that to be valuable just by existing, just by being alive. I don't necessarily feel that way about myself. I definitely feel like my value and my worthiness comes from being a creative person, and for me, creativity is all there is, really. There's nothing. There really isn't anything else. There's nothing else that really makes me want to live. There's nothing that really makes me want to stay alive, besides being creative. The whole reality of the world, that people get to the top by being really questionable in their behavior, and people do things that are really not so noble in order to be successful, and there's a lot of people who have a lot of things that they don't necessarily deserve, and all of that stuff can get to me, and I'm very sensitive to all of those things, the way the world is and how fucked up it is, and I get very upset and disturbed by that. So does Thoth. That's why we're very much homebodies. We like to just be on our own a lot of the time, and be creative, because that's the only thing that really makes us feel like there's any reason to stay alive, because the world is pretty fucked up, right? We all know this in some way or the other. We're very blessed to be able to live the way that we do, that we don't have to work or have a job or do what anybody says at any time, and we never have. I never have. So I don't even know what that's like for anybody. But I have thought about sometimes that if I struggle, if Thoth struggles, two people who are we're the freest people that I know. I really don't know anybody else who is as free as we are. If we struggle and we question our lives and ourselves and our worthiness and our worthiness, what must people go through that do drudge work, who wait on people, who work jobs that they hate, who I just can't fathom that. It's something I really just can't imagine. Do people find worthiness in doing their job well, even if they don't enjoy it? I never could do that. I never could have a job. Remember, my father tried to force me to get a job when I was 16. My sister went off and did her job, and I said, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to be a singer. So yeah, like when we were practicing today, we practice for ourselves. We're doing it for our own enjoyment and our, making our fingers strong, and that's important. It doesn't matter to anybody else. I live stream it because maybe there's one or two people who might enjoy it. I hope. But my value really comes from what I do, and the life that I live. Like, I really find my value is associated with that I'm growing as a person, that I'm evolving all the time, that I'm not staying in one place, literally and figuratively, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. It's really important to me is that I'm always learning and I'm always evolving as a human being, and that I push through hard times. And actually, getting through really hard things causes me to grow a lot and causes Thoth to grow a lot. And we've been through some really hard shit. But like when I was practicing today and the last couple of yesterday, and I was looking at this, it's such an amazing feeling to be playing this original music and knowing that in this little part of the world, Chiang Mai of all places, in this little house, in this little compound, there are these two people doing this absolutely phenomenally beautiful, magical thing that really nobody knows about. And I can get really weirded out about, existential, about art and life and stuff. It's like, I document things as much as I can. I document everything we do. I'm trying to document my thoughts now, and my feelings. And it's all going to be gone at some point, you know. Just like when I had to clear out my mother's house, I basically threw away everything she owned. And that was a fucked up experience. But, you know, like these things that I create, you know, it's just paper. It's eventually going to be gone. It eventually will crumble and disintegrate. I remember actually a friend of ours that we have, really close friend of ours, from California, said to me, if we ever contact aliens, I would want humanity to send you both, as the representatives of the best of humanity. What an amazing thing to say. Yeah, so it's an interesting thing in life that we're doing the best we can. I don't know anybody else like us. We're still trying, we're still pursuing, we're still trying to grow every day, and I think it's important for me to share the experience and what I'm going through day by day and what we're going through, even if it's just for history, because it's very possible that we will never be seen in our lives. Never be fully seen. We are seen sometimes. You know, sometimes we're recognized, but most of the time not. And that's just the way the world works, and it's a strange world. So yeah, being creative is it's life for me. It gives me life. It makes me feel alive. It gives me meaning and hope and purpose, and it's the only thing that makes me want to get up in the morning. I'll actually get up early when I am in a creative, you know, whirlwind of creativity and really feeling inspired. Depression hits me the most, actually, when I'm just feeling uninspired and unmotivated, and creativity is not happening. And yeah, so that's all I wanted to share today. I'm going to try to do this once a week. Maybe I'll just do it whenever I fucking feel like it, because I don't owe anybody anything. I need to do it for myself. Anyway, thank you for anybody who listened.